So before I started coming here and working in ministry, I was big into the kind of film and television world. That's what I was studying. That's what I wanted to go up in. And this morning for my sermon, I'm going to teach you a little hack of film and television. I still have a great love for film and television and really good storytelling. And one of the famous books that was kind of out as I was learning about it all was this book called Save the Cat. And it breaks down the key elements of how you write a good film script. And there's things in storytelling and television shows and that are certain plot points or plot elements that every good story has. Things you probably learned about in school, like the antagonist, the protagonist, the inciting action, the resolution. A lot of these things we've learned and we kind of know about. But this book, Save the Cats, has always stuck with me. One, because the book cover is so just eye-catching. I love that image. But there's this storytelling device that is so simple, yet when I tell you about it today, you're going to see it in all your favorite films. And it's going to ruin films for you as you're looking for this storytelling device. So when you're writing, especially a film script or a television script, if you really want to establish really quickly who is the good guy, who's the guy you're going to be rooting for the next hour and a half, all you have to do is have them save a cat. If you have them save a cat that's stuck up in a tree, they're obviously a good person. They've saved the cat. They've done a good thing. This is the hero that I'm going to be rooting for the rest of the film. And you're going to start spotting this in all of your favorite films. Things like in the Disney film Aladdin. Aladdin, at the very first song of the film, he's like running through the town, stealing stuff, being a rapscallion, causing all this mischief. And then he gets to the end of the song and he goes to eat his bread and he sees children next to him who are hungry. And so he gives them the loaf of bread instead. He's saved the cat. He's done something quite good that is like, oh, he's a good guy. Even though he's causing all this mischief, he's the one we're rooting for in this story. In the film The Hunger Games, at the start of that film, Katniss Everdeen, she volunteers as tribute. Her sister has been picked to be in the games where she's going to die, and Katniss runs forward and she's like, I'll take the place of my sister. Katniss kind of runs forward and saves the cat. She saves her sister's life. In the musical Wicked, there's this angsty, misunderstood Elphaba who's kind of discriminated against and cast off because her skin is green, and her sister is in a wheelchair, and at the start of the musical, they rock up to the university that her sister's going to, and Elphaba kind of steps in and helps out her sister when she's kind of being taken advantage of because she's in a wheelchair. And the film actually, I think it kind of hits you over the head with Save the Cat, but it has this flashback scene that they've added where the sister, as a child, is being teased by mean kids, and so Elphaba comes and throws rocks at the kids, and she saves the cat. She stands up for her sister, and you're like, oh, this Elphaba is the hero of the story, the one we're going to be rooting for. And so, in Isaiah, the series that we've been going through, we're going to meet and have a Save the Cat moment. There's this new character that's going to be introduced to us in Isaiah. And I'm going to spoil it for you. This character is Jesus. I thought, well, do I be mysterious? Do I draw this out? But as Chris kind of sang through the whole Bible, like, we know the whole story. We get to the privilege of seeing kind of what happened after this was written. So 700 years later, this character that Isaiah is talking about is Jesus. And we're going to see the Save the Cat moment that Isaiah is describing that clearly sets up Jesus as the good guy in the story. The good guy in the story of the whole world and of life. It's kind of setting him up. There's no kind of doubt that this could be the good guy that Isaiah is talking to us about. But there's also going to be a big question, and maybe this is a question you've had as we've been going through this series of Isaiah, or probably one, I guarantee, even if you've never heard of Isaiah, it's a question that may have been going around in your head. We've been looking at the past couple weeks, all these big promises, all these amazing things that are going to happen. Being careful of who's leading us and learning that we are God's and that we're important to Him. Israel, who this book was kind of written to, the people, this prophecy over them was spoken. They were promised a way out of this situation that they're in, which is a really bad situation. They're kind of spread across the area. They've been conquered. They're slaves, and they're saying there's this good thing that's coming. And you hear about all this good stuff. And you hear about all this stuff that God is going to do. But have you ever thought, yeah, but not me? Like, my cat is too high up that tree to be saved. The stuff I'm reading and learning about God, like, that's great, that's amazing, but not in my situation. Like, all this God stuff, that's great, but not in my life. If you knew my circumstances, if you knew what I've done, probably for those people sat around me, but not for me. It's not talking about me. Or even if you've been a Christian for a while and you have this kind of in your head wrapped around the now but not yet nature of faith sometimes, it's still easy to have the knowledge of like the goodness of God and the good things that God is going to do in like out there in the world, the big stuff. But then I also kind of forget, like, oh yeah, that still means the little things in my life. Like that email that I've put off over the weekend that I didn't want to have to deal with because I didn't like dealing with that person. And now I'm coming to Monday and it's like, oh, God, like that's just for me to deal with. God doesn't have anything to do with that. God's promises are good, but not in that situation. Like that's just me. I just got to get through it. Or God's promises are good, but it feels like there's no escape from what I'm in. Like, it's just too much, and it's been going on for too long. It's too far gone for God to deal with anymore. Those kind of doubts and questions that all of us have in different parts of our life, God has something to say about it. And in Isaiah 49, we're going to look at this. It's a new character who's entering this scene, this servant character that Isaiah starts talking about. And we're going to learn different aspects of who this servant, Jesus, that he's talking about, is, the different characteristics he has over the next few weeks. But in a very kind of quick nutshell, there's this prophecy that this servant is coming, that Jesus is coming. And Isaiah 49, verses 1 through 7 are this very confusing, poetic, like a lot of names, and it's basically saying like someone amazing is coming, God is coming, he's going to do amazing things, Jesus is coming, and he's not just coming for the Jews, he's also coming for the Gentiles, which means all of us, and there's this really big plan that's going to come into place, and someone, this servant, he's going to be despised by the rulers of his time. And it's like you can see he's laying out the literal plot beats of Jesus' life when he comes here on earth, just 700 years before Jesus came. And then there's this promise, this save the cat moment. What is this servant going to do? And so I want to read this together in verses 8 to 13. This is like, here's the big thing that shows you this character. He's the good guy. He's the one that's going to do this. So verse 8 says, "This is what the Lord says. In the time of my favor, I will answer you. And in the day of salvation, I will help you. I will keep you, and I will make you to be a covenant for the people, to restore the land and to reassign its desolate inheritance. To say to the captives, come out, and to those in darkness, be free. They will feed beside the roads and find pasture on every barren hill. They will neither hunger nor thirst, nor will the desert heat of the sun beat down on them. He who has compassion on them will guide them and lead them beside springs of water. I will turn all my mountains into roads, and my highways will be raised up. See, they will come from afar, some from the north, some from the west, some from the region of Aswan. Shout for joy, you heavens. Rejoice, you earth. Burst into song, you mountains, for the Lord comforts his people and will have compassion on his afflicted one." How amazing does that sound? Like, that's such an incredible promise of what Jesus does. It's a beautiful picture. And when someone asks me, like, what is following Jesus like? What is faith like? Those are the kinds of words that I love to describe it as, the types of things that I like to point to. He answers, and he helps, and he restores, and he frees, and he has compassion. And I genuinely believe that I've had those experiences, and I have hope for more of that in my life in Middlesbrough and all around us. But this is all well and good. But there's also that doubt that's there. But what about my life right now? Or what about this situation that I'm in right now? Is all this goodness, does it apply to that? And in all of this really beautiful, poetic, positive writing that Isaiah is putting out, there's this very abrupt interruption. It's like a kid in class who raises their hand with like a point they really want to get across. And in verse 14, there's this character Zion. They like raise their hand and they shout out, but hey, what about this? And so Zion here is an actual physical location in ancient Jerusalem. It's the highest hill of the city of Jerusalem. And that's where the temple of God was built. And before it was destroyed, before Isaiah was written, all this was destroyed, ransacked, the city was destroyed, the people were taken out in slaves and scattered across, and Zion represented their connection to God. That was like where God was. And as these people are scattered and in slavery and not able to live in Jerusalem, Zion, the hill, is still there, and it's raising its hand up, and it's interrupting this like beautiful poem, and it's saying, hey, the Lord has forgotten me. The Lord has forsaken me. God's temple has been destroyed. Everyone that lives here in this city is gone. Yeah, all these promises are great, but things aren't great here right now. Things are actually pretty bad right now. You've just left us, God. You've forgotten about us. Our cat is too high in this tree, and all these good things that you're talking about. But then God replies to this, and not in kind of an angry or demeaning way, like, well, if you weren't so stupid, you would realize this. No, he has this really gentle reply to this really valid interruption that Zion throws out, like, stuff are really bad, how you've forsaken me, you've forgotten me. But God responds to this interruption with this. He says, can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. Now, I'm not a mother and I don't have kids, so I can only speak to this from the research that I've Googled this week about this. And yes, there are some like really bad examples of mothers, but in the vast majority of experiences, having a child makes it pretty hard to forget about that child. One, because they cry and they make noise and they like constantly need your attention, they need your help, they can't do anything without you. When they're hungry, they cry. When they need changing, they cry. And so there's like this constant reminder of when you have that child, the mother like can't forget that the child's there. They're reliant on you for everything you do. And physically, producing milk, and you need to feed the child, or there's physical discomfort of not doing that. You can't physically forget that this child is here. But even the most well-meaning mother, the most well-meaning, caring human mother is going to slip up. They're going to have a bad day. They may forget the name of the child as they're so sleep-deprived. It's something that's going to happen, and ultimately they're going to pass away. But God says, like, even as dedicated as a mother is to the child, like, will not forget that child. I, your God, am even more dedicated to you. I will never forget you. I will never not see the circumstances that you're in. I will never not care for you. I'll never break my promises. And even more so, because I will not forget you, because see, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. So not only is this mother, like that analogy, but he says, but also I've engraved you on the palms of my hands. And I like to write notes on my hands, so I've written some here for things that I need to remind myself of, which is really great until you take a shower too many times or wash your hands in the toilet too many times and the notes kind of go away. I'm trying to decipher what is that scribble of ink supposed to mean. That's not quite what engraving on the hand that God is talking about. And back when this was written in Isaiah, there was a custom where the slaves would have tattooed on their hand the name of their owners, so they wouldn't forget their owners' names, but that's not quite the right analogy here either. This was originally spoken in Hebrew when this was written and spoken out to the people of Israel. And in Hebrew, there's a very specific meaning to this word. We just say engraved in the English translation. But in the Hebrew, the word here for engraved is a word that's used to like engrave something really deeply with like a hammer and chisel, like carving into stone. God's saying, see, I love you and see you and remember you even in your hardship so much that I have carved you with a hammer and chisel on the palm of my hand. If you've been in church for a while, let that image really sink in. It's alluding to a really deep, meaningful significance of what we're about to do when we take communion later. If you're not super familiar with communion or church or this tradition, let me kind of walk you through the real significance of what this is talking about. Jesus, God's Son, was here on the earth 700 years after this prophecy about the servant that's coming that Isaiah wrote about. And he was the servant hero that was promised. And he was here because he loved us. The only way for us to be close to God was for a price to be paid, for the forgiveness of all the stuff that we've done that's against that good stuff that Isaiah was talking about, the goodness of God. And so Jesus was crucified, the worst death imaginable, with nails hammered through his hands. He bled and died in our place. And the night before that happened, he had one last meal with his friends and the people around him. And he started a tradition that we still do 2,000 years later, that we're going to do today. And he says, I don't want you to forget what's about to happen. I don't want you to forget the significance of this moment that's going to happen tomorrow night. And he said, when you have this bread together, remember that I did this for you. The scars that are going to be engraved in my hands, it was because I loved you so much, and I will always remember you. And he said, when you drink this, remember the blood that's going to pour out of my engraved body, something I did because I love you so much, and I will always remember you. And nothing, no matter how big or bad or desperate your circumstances feel, will ever, ever, ever be forgotten by God. He'll never stop loving you or not caring about you, because 3 days after he died, was crucified on this cross, he was buried, a miracle happened. And he came back to life. Even death couldn't hold back the goodness of God. It couldn't hold that down. Nothing can keep the goodness of God back from you. Shout to joy, you heavens. Rejoice, you earth. Burst into song, you mountains. For the Lord comforts his people and will have compassion on his afflicted ones. And this is the good news for you. In every aspect of your life, Jesus did this for you. And we're going to take communion now together, and it's a somber thing, it's a gruesome thing, but it's also a celebration. It's a disturbing image, but it's a glorious ending. And so today, as we take communion, I want you to think, this is for you. It's not for the people, it is for the people sat around you, but not you excluded. This is for you. And how are you going to respond? Is it going to be a Jesus, I'm in. I'm in, you've done this, you aren't going to forget me, you're in these circumstances, and I'm in. Is it, Jesus, I believe now, I get it, I want this goodness that you're talking about? Is it, Jesus, you're in that situation I'm walking back into tomorrow, and I'm going to choose to remember that you remember me? And so we're going to take communion now, and we're going to pass around the elements to you in your seats. And there's some bread, it's gluten-free, and there's some drink, it's non-alcoholic juice. And this is for everyone to partake in. And so as it passes by, grab one of those bread and the cup. And just kind of in the quiet, some music in the background, I want you to kind of hold those elements and just reflect on this. How do you want to respond when Jesus says to you, can a mother forget the baby at her breast and have no compassion on the child she has born? Though she may forget, I will not forget you. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands. And so as you have these elements, and in your own time, you can take them and that reminder of what Jesus has done, and then we'll sing together once we've all kind of had that. So I'm going to pray for us, and if those helping to serve the communion want to come up. Jesus, we thank you for your goodness. We thank you that you remember us. We thank you that this is for us, for me sat here right now. God, you say, this is for you. The cat is not too high in the tree. Life is not too far gone. Situations are not too big. Stuff you've done is not too in the way. Jesus says, this is for you. And Jesus, as we take these elements now, really remind us what you want to get out of this when you say, I will never forget you. We bring our life and our situations and our stuff to you because you are a good God. We thank you for what you did for us to take away the punishment because you just loved us. That's it. No questions asked. So God, be with us now and meet with us.